Longshank was asked. Once you lost it all, meaning your titles and land, what was it like to be placed in a ludus and trained by a Lunista, beaten, wagered on, and subsequently bartered as a slave in battle for your life on the blood and sand of the arenas in Rome? His answer was simple. It all started when I was shackled to 30 other recruits, and the trainer I will reference as Doctori asked us all, "What is beneath your feet?" After an awkward silence, Longshank answered, "Sand. Sand is, sir. You see." Cole answered the question with a blind trust in the sanctuary of contemporary science based on his studies at university and prior to his new role as a slave. A well-endowed beast-mode self-proclaimed ladies' man enslaved to fight for the amusement of the crowd. Doctori yelled, "Sand. Sand? We stand on the grounds of Ludus of Quintus Marullus Setiva, the highest bastard Lunista in the Republic. He has the rank of High Plains drifter with the finest stock of gladiators in all of Rome." Doctor cracked his whip and said with a bellowing voice that seemed to be belched from the bowels of Pompey and soaked in a mask of malt liquor that would make Billy D. Williams proud, "It's sacred ground, you cockless fool. This ground is drenched and fertilized from the loins of Marcus Crassus, Julius Caesar, and with the tears of blood, your tears, your blood, so that your pathetic life may be forged into something of worth. You may have grown fond of dipping your Longshank into all of your privileged diva queen freaks, but you're in training now, a worthless slave, unless you prove yourself worthy in the arena." Longshank decided at this moment that he must rise to the top of this slave shit and go hard in the cut and blast if I have to. Don't make me have to. Squeeze this motherfucking millimeter, you don't stop. Millie. Doctor cracked his whip again, which made Longshank think of changing his name to Cocktail Weenie or Oscar Mayer for short. But he was spawned from a long lineage of bestowed, and out, and otherwise packing heat, big bone type soldiers of fortune. So Cole grabbed his Longshank with a G.I. Joe kung fu grip, and with a burst of testosterone and testicular fortitude he prepared to engulf on a journey of brutality and ultimately reclaim his great-great-granddaddy Duke Ellington Longshank's throne. The whip cracked again, and the lecture started to make sense. Listen, learn, and live as gladiators. You have been blessed to find yourself here at the Ludus of Quintus Lentulus Batiatus, purveyor of the finest gladiators in all of the Republic. Prove yourself in the hard days to follow. Prove yourselves more than a common slave, more than a man. Cole Longshank knew he was way more than any man, judging by the length and girth of the sword. The lecture continued. Fail in the arena and die, or fail here in the Ludus during training. Here where you stand you're still in the kingdom, and there you shall receive your inheritance. Fail to produce victories and you will be sold off to the mines. Succeed, and stand proud among my titans. A gladiator does not fear death. He embraces it, caresses it, fucks it. Each time he enters the arena he slips his cock into the mouth of the beast and prays to thrust home before the jaws snapshot. None of you stray dogs would last a fleeting moment, except one. He looked at Longshank and said, "This man was robbed of his heritage, stripped of all lands, title, and stocks in his family's fortune, including the largest brothel in all 5 kingdoms, his family's palace, stores of gold, treasures even King Leonidas would consider a vast Greek god's wealth is now burying his shank in the trenches, the mud, the shit, and abandoned by all his bitches to train with all of you." Before he got here, Longshank was placed in the arena with the design of his captors to execute him and amputate the last Longshank, but he stood against 6 bloodthirsty mercenaries hell-bent of deshinking him in the arena. Cole Longshank was condemned to die, given nothing but a sword, a dull sword of inferior design with no agito wager his life upon. They came at him again and again and again. But he displayed a mammoth sense of prowess and skill as Longshank defied death, denied fate, and defied the gods as he held onto his sword and his Longshank, killing all 6 who attempted to take his manhood. Gaze at this man, study him, and realize that limbed shank is now nothing, a coward, a deserter from the auxiliary. His victory in the arena is hollow as his courage. He fought against the ill-trained men and wardens of the state, your master's rivals. Had limbed Shank entered the arena with any gladiator here, his head would have left well in advance of his body. No matter how many hoes he used to have, he had nothing now and must train to survive like the rest of you pukes. Heed my instruction if you want to live to see the final test. Receive the mark. An attack must be grounded in proper footing. He attempts to press before regaining balance will fall from grace, lose the crowd, and perish on the sands of the arena to the amusement of the crowd. Allow advantage to your back and you are dead, choked out, son, beat down, tapped out, and ultimately defeated in front of the disappointed spectators who wish you dead. So a more suitable gladiator takes the spotlight. Become entangled with a more powerful opponent and you are dead. Size does matter, son. Grab a hold of reality and fight with passion, or you will be sent to the afterlife to look back at your shortcomings. Hurl your sword in the arena and you are dead again. Now train. Longshank trained harder than any other gladiator and passed his test to earn the distinguished mark of the Brotherhood branded on his arm. He captivated the crown and was crowned the champion of Pancho Capravilla del Rio and remained undefeated, which allowed him the spoils of women, which he considered was a carnasur. He was considered a pimp not of women, but of himself, servicing the rich wives of aristocrats, diplomats, senators, emperors of foreign lands, and was paid masterfully for his services, which were said to put the wives to sleep for days at a time after the encounter. Legends say his seed was so potent each time he crushed he spawned a male heir, not of his own royal, and once born it was obvious they were stallions worthy of leading and masters of the language of love. That's how the training started for Cole Longshank.